What makes a human being really human and allow to live the humanness is when we realize that we have the potential, we have the chance, we have the capacity without identifying with that what is taking place in the body, in the mind, to observe it, to watch it, to witness it. It is this recognition and the application of this recognition which brings about a development in human life, that we can come to realize that although on a certain level we are like every other animal or a certain kind of robot, but this capacity that we are able consciously to observe this phenomena and thereby be not trapped in the identification with the body, identification with the personality, identification with the conditionings. Which makes all the difference. Until we human beings come to recognize this and start living it, we are not really living our human potential. We are not living the way we are capable as a human being. To live a life which can be so deeply fulfilling. Through this capacity, we are able to see deeper than projecting through the conditionings. Which is not really a seeing when we are projecting through the conditioning, but which is more like a very subjective interpretation of what is there. And this is also a very decisive factor for individual human being, and now collectively it is coming to a decisive point whether we really rise to recognize this potential and live on the basis of seeing what is real, or whether we allow our conditioned, narrow perception of the reality, which is not a perception in a true sense, but just a survival kit, to go on dominating our life in such a way that it ends in a self-destructive process. Because everyone who is only looking at themselves in a narrow level and going on with the capacities which life has made available to us, with the power, with the resources, with the capacities, then it turns against each other in such a way that finally it becomes self-destructive. It is comparable to a cancer cell, where the cell is no more considering itself as part of the wholeness of the reality, but is just beginning to function from a narrow idea of itself and beginning to multiply without recognizing the requirement of the body, going about itself in such an aggressive way that it is not realizing what it is doing to itself and to the whole organism. The result is clear, that it becomes a sickness, it becomes a self-destructive process. And this is something like that on a deeper level when we human beings don't recognize this potential in us and realize that we don't exist separately from the whole. We are not just this body, just this personality, but we have a deeper basis in us. Only in recognizing this and living according to this insight, we allow the capacity of our intelligence, the capacity of love, and the capacity of imagination and fantasy to come in our living in such a way that our life becomes a playful, celebrative, wondrous development which is valuable for oneself and for everybody else. One of the great mystics from the last century, George Gurdjieff, he used to provocatively say that the human beings have no soul, the soul has to be developed.